Hello, welcome. I currently am not reading anything, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing or reading during the sprint. I think what I want to do is edit. Who knows if I'm actually going to edit though? But welcome everybody. Sorry this is a little late. I double booked myself with real life. And what's really sad is I made the actual I need to like go somewhere appointment after I knew I was supposed to do these sprints like an hour and a half ago. So that was my bad, but I'm here now. Um, Let me get this plugged in before I need to worry about it being dead. So I'm gonna plug in my computer. You guys are gonna tell me what you're reading during the little sprinty sprints, and maybe I'll get some inspiration. Let's see here. Hello, welcome. Hello. Um, I don't want to say horrible because I've only read one book. I read As the Wicked Watch. Yeah, that's right. As the Wicked Watch by Tamron Hall. I believe there is a co-author like that's also credited. At least on T. Sean Taylor. Don't know who T. Sean Taylor is, but Goodreads got them on the thing, and I had a good time with it. I know that a lot of people did not. It's sitting at a 3.5-star rating on Goodreads, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I thought the audiobook was well produced. Do I think it was a mystery? Not exactly. Do I think that it was a thriller? No. I think it wanted to be those things, but it really was just a procedural in a book. And I like a good procedural. I do think that it was like a little bit too neat, and I don't excuse me. The audiobook had like a little sneak peek at the second book, and the tone from the second book to the first book feel very different. And I don't think that the first book was like I don't think the investigation that happens in the first book would like launch somebody into having billboards and like news articles all about themselves and like getting to run their own little news division, but it is what it is, I guess. Yes, you did come right on time. Charging up the Kindle so you can read some Brandon Massey, reading They Never Learned by Lane Fargo. I don't trust this book. I just kind of refuse to believe that it's as good as the people say. As the Wicked Watch by Tamron Hall. It like I said, it's not a mystery and it's not really a thriller, but those are kind of present. It was definitely somebody's first book. And I would it also what it really reads like, um, what is this book I'm talking? As the Wicked Watch. What it really reads like is that Tamron Hall wanted to make a TV show, like she wanted something on NBC, CBS, or Fox. Maybe ABC, but it don't really fit ABC. Like it really is like a CBS or an NBC show. She wanted one like something to go on those networks. Only it wasn't good. And so she took her little screenplay and she adapted it into a book, and it was fun. It was fun, but it doesn't feel like a book. So hopefully the second book will feel like a book. It's 2 a.m. here, or or you could go to sleep. I don't know if like you work at 2 a.m. or what you're doing up at 2 a.m., but I think sleeping would be an excellent option. That's just me though. You're starting Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron. They Never Learned was mid. It was fun, but not incredible by any means. It was predictable and fun. The ending was meh. I just refuse to believe that it was good. Like, I don't have any strong opinions on it. I don't think I'm ever gonna read it. I just kind of refuse to believe it. But I don't want to say that I'm hesitant to read like the good for her books, but the good for her books, not good for her. Like I think good for her works visually. In a visual medium, a good for her can work. In a written medium, I don't know. I don't know. It's questionable. Starting Jackal. let's see if I can find this on Goodreads. I wait. Okay, yes, I have heard of this. I have seen this cover. Okay, interesting. At a 3.92, seems like the girlies are eating it up. Reorganizing, you need help. Listen, good luck. I have no idea how to organize a bookshelf, which is probably why I kind of want to get rid of some of these books. Um, but good luck. I wish you luck. You have a terrible sleep schedule. It's fine. I mean, I guess it's fine. Not this. Not iron. Listen. Why though? Like why? I just want to know why. I just want to know why. Because the book's been out for a while. Um, so just why? Just why? Like, that's all I want to know. I just want to know why. Because I am curious. Enjoying it a lot. Yes, Tamron Hall, the news lady. Which is why, like, I do think that a certain is this shaking the table? Is this shaking the table? Sometimes I think that authors that people are familiar with get hit with a critique that is, I feel like, a little bit unfair. So if an author that people are familiar with comes out with a book like Tamron Hall, and Tamron Hall's main character is a reporter for a local news station, um, and it becomes like a self-insert, like a wish fulfillment book. And I do think that's a little bit unfair because I don't know Tamron Hall personally, so I'm not going to sit here and be able to dissect these things. But it's like nobody. Where's a person that I can? You know what? No, I'm not going to use you. I won't use them as an example. Let's go with Aislinn Brophy. I couldn't. I think I saw Aislinn Brophy on my timeline the other day, and I said, you know what? Never would have guessed that's what you looked like. Is there? Yeah, because this little art copy I have, there's no author photo. But it's like her main character could be just like her, and I would never know. And so when the girlies be in the comments of As the Wicked Watch going, ooh, Tamron Hall, like she is writing a book about herself, I'm just like, is she though? Like just because Tamron Hall decided to write about a news person. But if you're going to read a book about an investigative reporter, I mean, the investigative reporter seems like a perfect person to write that book. That's just me. So I guess that's my little shake the table moment. You are loving the Jumpies by Tracy Baptiste. It's a spooky middle grade. I know it's blackoween sprinting time, but you're reading Daisy Darker. Is that a little? The cover of that book is coming to my mind. Let's see what Goodreads says. If I'm thinking of the right cover. Oh, by Alice Feeney. Interesting. This cover is hideous. It is not very good. But the girlies are eating it up. 3.92. 3.92. You just bought We Hunt the Flame, Sunbearer, Trials, and Fledgling for blackoween. You was in the bookstore and you opened the book and you saw her face and you're like, I like her videos. Let me listen. I love their videos too. I think that Sharon makes some quality content for the YouTube. Do I think that they make good books? Absolutely not. The book is horrible. It was horrible. And every time I have to get on Beyonce's internet and see people praising it, I just refuse to. I refuse. I simply refuse. Maybe their little middle grade that they came out with a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, it might have been a couple months ago at this point. That little Zachary Yang book. Maybe that's better, but Iron Widow, we could have. And what killed me is they had set me up. They set me up because I watched their videos about the actual person that they wrote the book about, and I was eating up the videos. I said, okay, that's who this person is. This book is about to be. It's about to be lit. It's about to be the moment. I started reading that book, and I said, where is she? Where's this Empress? Where's the woman you was just telling me about? So hate to see it. Hate to see it. Agree to take, shake the table, starting the violin conspiracy, setting the South prompt, hope it fits. I have not read the violin conspiracy, so I don't know. Um, but good luck. Good luck with it. We'll do our first sprint here at 45. So in 5 minutes, we'll do our first sprint. Over here, we had moved to 45-minute sprints. So you can break that little 45 minutes into whatever you need to fit your life. But I'm going to be quiet for 45 minutes, starting at 45. You just saw that Jeanette McCurdy is moving into fiction, and you're kind of curious as to what the eventual reception will be. I feel like Jeanette McCurdy about to get dragged. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it will be. I mean, I don't think that it has to be because it's going to be Jeanette McCurdy. Um, but I think that book is going to get dragged. I do. I do. I'm pretty sure because I want to say that they were an executive producer on this little show that they came out with before they decided to quit acting. Let me double check before I get on the internet and lie. Let me double check. See how do you spell her name? Jeanette. Let's see here. Where is this show? Do. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Did they write for it? Executive producer. Okay, maybe they didn't write for it. Good for her. But I don't see it being successful for Miss Jeanette. I just don't see it. Haley Kiyoko just announced that a YA romance based on Girls Like Girls, and I just know people are going to be so disappointed. Listen, again, good for her. Do I think it's going to be? I think I feel bad for the Sapphics just because their books are always pay dust. Always pay dust. So hopefully Haley does something good with it, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Starting Creatures of Passage. You saw the news about Jeanette too. I just hope she isn't stuck in a box. You're excited for Jeanette. I mean, I think that it's like one thing to be able to write your own story because when you're writing a memoir, like these are things that you might have told yourself or you might have like written down in a diary somewhere. Like these, no one is like sitting down to a memoir and it's like these are entirely new stories that I'm just like coming up with. Like telling the story of your life in a way that I think is relatable and engaging is far easier than crafting an entirely new world. But maybe that's just me being not very nice. But I think that it is very clearly two different sets of skills. And I haven't read their little memoir, but I do feel like they are different skills. Jen is taking any sensitive topics in her fiction book. She'll get dragged for sure. I just don't think the fiction is going to be good. Like, I don't think it's going to be like dragged for any, like, she's going to get canceled because she wrote a fiction book. I just think that it's not going to be a good book. Like, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. You know, crazy helps, but she's getting paid regardless. I mean, that's true. If the book comes out, she'll get paid. I think she might get dragged too, so I hope they give her space to expand her writing topics. I just hope it's not only trauma topics. I don't know. I hope she wins though. I mean, I hope for the best. Hope for the best there, but I didn't rush out to read I'm Glad My Mom Died, and I'm not gonna rush out to read that next book. She's probably busy because allegedly, you know, she's working on the Akatar pilot that is allegedly going to be at Hulu, which don't make no goddamn sense to me. Not gonna lie, like whatever Disney is putting on Hulu, it don't make sense to me. Some things that go on Hulu don't seem to fit with the Disney brand, but you know, whatever. I remember when they sat there and canceled the little Lizzie McGuire reboot because Hilary Duff wanted to have like Lizzie date people and drink alcohol and maybe have sex, and now there's going to be A Court of Thorns and Roses. Anyway, so whatever is happening over there, allegedly there's going to be a third Crescent City book, and that's going to be the next book. It's also supposedly the last book, but the Illumicrate announcement for their little special editions makes me sad. Like it sounds like it's going to be more than one book. So I don't know what's happening with Sarah, but Sarah is fine. When I don't hear things from Sarah, I know things are good. You get what you mean, journaling and story building different skills, and it is gonna be a mediocre show. It is, which is why I don't think it's ever actually going to happen. But I think she's moved. She's in California. She's living in California. So if she's doing her little, or maybe she's in Hawaii. I don't know what she's doing. Again, I don't keep tabs on the lady. When she drops a book, I read the book, but I don't follow. I don't know what's happening. But it is 45, so I'm gonna go ahead and refresh my little Pomodoro kitty for 45 minutes. And in 45 minutes, we can come back together and talk about how we were productive. Welcome back. Hopefully, y'all were productive in whatever you were choosing to do. I still have not read a book, didn't touch a book at all, didn't even think about a book. I prepped some stuff for dinner, I watched some YouTube. But did I read? Was a book read? Was it touched? No, it wasn't. Nope. 'Twas not touched at all. I think maybe I'll do some reading in the next one because I do have books I need to read that I should be reading. It just didn't happen. The universe said not right now. not right now, but hopefully, like I said, in the next one, I will have selected a book. I don't see that happening. More power to y'all. I think that ship has sailed. I think that we are done with that. Yeah. I don't think that because he doesn't appear. I guess that would be a spoiler. It would be a spoiler. But there's a book that Sarah has written that wrote that has been out in the world now, where several characters got to make an appearance in this book that Sarah wrote. And I don't believe Tamlin was in that number. So sadly, I think he is going to be stuck in the past and he will not be part of the future. Maybe I'll be wrong though. Hello, welcome. You're reading A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows. I've heard mixed things, some positive, some not so positive, but hopefully you're having a good time. You didn't read, but you did apply for student loan forgiveness. Sounds productive to me. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to be productive. You made it 4% into your book before admitting you were confused and you started playing games on your tablet and started eating candy. You're going to try a different book? Okay. What book was confusing? Did you share? Let's scroll. Let me scroll. Let me see here. Not seeing it. So maybe you have not shared, but you were reading. Oh, Cinderella is dead. Oh, Cinderella. I haven't read it, but I can't. Here's the thing about Miss Cinderella is dead because when that book first came out, everyone that I know who was reading it thought it was interracial. And recently, I say recently, it's probably been like a year and a half now. What is it? Miss Caitlin Barron be on the internet retweeting the little that little girl from Falcon and Winter Soldier, Carly. She be it's like, this is what I was imagining. It's not interracial. It's just albinism. And mine is just like, if you're describing an albino character, I feel like that is very different than describing a white character. And if people were mistaking your albino Black character for a white Caucasian character, maybe you aren't doing what you think you're doing. Again, I haven't read it, but I have had many a friend. I say many a friend. It's really just Aaron. Aaron be dragging Miss Caitlin. So she don't really inspire confidence in me personally. She does, but what kills me, so here's the thing that I think is, so Sarah, she hates Tamlin, which is very clear from, the way that she sat there and wrote, what is it? What is this book? This book right here, A Court of Mist and Fury. The way that she wrote this is how we know. This is how we know that she hates Tamlin, because this book don't make sense if she liked Tamlin. So we ain't ever doing that. But what's killing me is that's too far down. But in A Court of Silver Flames, you can see them. The trifecta right here. In this, Reese is out here doing shit that actually doesn't make sense. Now, I clocked him being a horrible person right here. But what he was doing over here That's crazy. Don't even make sense. Don't even make sense to be doing that. Can't wait to Azriel's books comes out. You want more? You want that more than Crescent City 3. At this point, I definitely don't care about. The only one I cared about was Silver Flames because it's my girl Nesta. I don't really care what's happening in Prithian if Nesta's not involved. So I'm excited for Crescent City 3 just because I want to see how this is gonna wrap up. But I don't think that I'm overly invested in anything that she's like putting out in the near future. Read about 10 pages of The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown. It's your bonus blackoween pick. Haven't heard anybody talk about that, so maybe I'm not following the right people. 32 pages into The Violin Conspiracy, switching it to the new release prompt and moving the book you had there to a different one. Okay. Listen, Kaylin Barron, I don't know her. I couldn't pick her out from Adam, but I mean, from what I've heard about the books, I am not in any rush to read them. 24 pages of Creatures of Passage, and you got some food. You're on page 38 of Iron Widow. You see, maybe I'm not a fantasy girly, so I've dipped and dabbled. There's still time left in the year. I will. 1 second. So, I'm not going to read them here today. I'm not going to read this here today with y'all. But I do need to read this. It is For the Wolf by Hannah Witten, because I'm co-host of the Busy Bee Book Club, and this is the October selection of the Busy Bee Book Club. And I believe this is a fantasy. Aaron described this in the September live as a fantasy romance, which I was not aware of, honestly. And I think this was published by, this is Orbit. Orbit and Tor be real hit or miss. I think that they're just, they try, and sometimes they succeed, and we get, a Green Bone Saga. This is also from Orbit. But more often than not, it don't connect. I think that Del Rey and Harper put out better books in the fantasy categories than Tor and Orbit. Like, I think that, Hachette and Macmillan, they try. They are out here attempting. But Penguin got him beat. HarperCollins got him beat. It's very sad that Tor and Orbit have such a chokehold on the fantasy readership when I think that they are just not doing what needs to be done. Nnedi Okorafor proved how well you can write someone who has albinism. My thing is just that, like, someone who is like whatever racial dynamic, like background that their family is from, like, they should not be confused with a white person. So it's like, it doesn't even make sense for you to be describing them the same way when the only difference between me and an albino me would be the lack of melanin. Like, the features don't just suddenly disappear, which is why every time I see her tweet out that little albino girl, I'm just like, but clearly that's not what you described. Clearly, if the entire internet, like one or two people, okay. But the entire internet, I don't know. You need to read more from Nnedi. You got Your Life Remote Control. I think Nnedi Okorafor wrote a Shuri issue, like a volume that I read, and it was horrible. It was not very good. And so I said, you know what? Let me not read anything else from you, Nnedi Okorafor, because this was not good. Like, it was entirely too wordy. The art was mediocre, which I can't blame Nnedi Okorafor for. She didn't do the art. But I said, ooh, this is not for me. Let me just run away. Didn't Tamlin tuck and run during a scene in Nessa's? I mean, probably. But, like, Tamlin's not a fighter, so, like, that part doesn't bother me. My thing is just that, like, Tamlin in the first book was, like, a very average, generic love interest that just became totally creepy. But what kills me is that, like, people talk about Tamlin being very controlling, and that's why he is a horrible person in A Court of Mist and Fury, and yet in A Court of Silver Flames, I mean, to be fair, Rhysand was always weird. He talks to like Feyre about how he could have assaulted her, but he didn't because he's a good guy, even though I could have. He talks about how I could break your arm, but I'm not going to because I'm a good guy. He takes Feyre and Rhys. Was it Feyre and Rhys? They're constantly down there in like the survivors of sexual assault library about to fuck, which I think is weird. Maybe it's not like an issue, but it's weird. But what he does in A Court of Silver Flames is wild. Like he just removes all of Feyre's like autonomy from a situation that she should definitely have, and he became full blown MAGA supporter. It was just wild. Like, and that's your hero, not me. Me and Cassian ain't never let me down. Heroes and villains in Sarah J. Maas's books are like exactly. They're never very deep. They're not very deep. You think the Y identity-based mediocre contemporary industrial complex needs to fall as a person of color person if you're not bringing something solid to the table beyond a label? Then share no from my coin. I mean, I don't know what this book is. I don't know what this is referring to. What book this was, or this is like a general comment. So maybe by the time I get caught up again, there'll be an explanation. You feel like as a boy just be so lonely. I mean, maybe, but I don't really care about Azriel. Like is the thing. Like I don't care about a lot of the characters in her books. A lot of characters get names, don't care about a lot of them. I think we talked about the Throne of Glass cover redesigns on one of my reading sprints. I don't remember which one, or I would direct people there, but I like some of them. Let me open them up. Am I still signed in to Instagram on my computer? Because I can just pull them up again. Okay, I am. Come on, the real Sarah. One moment while I stop sharing that screen. We can share a different Chrome tab. This one. So these ones, let's see here. Slide to, I think I like the font. Yeah, so I like the font on the paperbacks, and I hate the font on these. But I do like the cover. Like these are the hardcovers. I like the redesigns. I do appreciate them. This is what they look like. This is the release date. I think this is a horrible release date. But Bloomsbury is also weird and wild, and they don't really care about anybody. So Bloomsbury releasing those books on that date, sure. The fact that you're confused by this early says a lot. You're going to pick up your book club pick for the next sprint. You heard the book was bad. 70 way. I'm assuming this is still about Cinderella is dead. Maybe I'm wrong. Through Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. How are you enjoying it? Listen, I don't have. I hope that it's gonna be good, but like as soon as I heard there was fantasy romance and not just a fantasy, listen, I don't know. Let's find out together what I do with it. So Hannah Witten for the wolf. The back of the book reads, the first daughter is for the throne. The second daughter is for the wolf. Is that really it? Okay, let's just go to the inside flat. His eyes are away from her, to the waiting wilderwood beyond, their ring of cleared ground. I warned you before, Red, none of the stories have happy endings. As the only second daughter born in centuries, Red has one purpose, to be sacrificed to the wolf in the wilderwood in the hope he'll return the world's captured gods. Red is almost relieved to go, plagued by dangerous powers she can't control. She knows that at least in the wilderwood she can't hurt those she loves again. But the legends lie. The wolf is a man, not a monster. Her magic is a calling, not a curse. And if she doesn't learn how to use it, the monsters the gods have become will swallow the wilderwood and her world whole. Hannah Witten's richly imagined debut is a sweeping tale of love, legends, and the secrets that hide beyond the trees. So sure, maybe it's a Beauty and the Beast. I don't know. We're gonna find out together. I'm going to Murder by Page One sounds like a better title. And I don't care about I'm not a T Kingfisher person. I don't know them. So I'm gonna vote for that one if you haven't already decided. I'm outvoted, clearly. Clearly outvoted. You can always just say this person is albino in the book. Like any culture that has about black people have a name for that, only black people can have. But yeah, I do know what you mean. People just like Reese Kissie's dark hair for being real. I mean, I don't understand what they like about him. Like that's the part that I don't get. Like, so was. I think they look nice, modernized that sort of classic fantasy cover style. Yeah, I like them. I like them. I do think that some of these, namely Queen of Shadows, I'm not gonna pull up this thing. Well, can I? Oh, it's still up. Perfect. I think that Queen of Shadows. There we go. Queen of Shadows. It looks like a Disney, like the little Twisted Tales cover is what this one reminds me of. But they're all like they're decent. They're decent. I think the paperbacks are a little bit more questionable, but I'd like the font more. So it is what it is. Am I gonna rush out and purchase them? No. Will I own them at some point? Probably. I mean, I don't know. We have a title. We have a title. I think it's what is it? Anguish and anger, anger and anguish, anguish and anarchy, anarchy and anguish is A's. It's two A's this time. So we have a title. The book is coming, which I appreciate. The white contemporary book thing is that they claim to be revolutionary, but have absolutely asked to say about experience. Like I hate on Earth are briefly gorgeous, but is doing what these books want. Anguish and anarchy. Especially I'll have to get the brunt with own voices stuff. Publishing has just made it into a stick for coin instead of doing anything they claimed it would do. I mean, I don't think that anybody is claiming the books to be revolutionary, but I also think that what is revolutionary to me and what is actually revolutionary in terms of like the broader context that these books are finding themselves in and the access that people have to them is going to be very different. Like I also think that I wouldn't compare that um what a book like On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, which is written for adults by an adult for an adult readership, um, which is literary fiction, is very different than what a YA contemporary is hoping to do. I think that comparing a YA contemporary book to an adult literary fiction is wild. Like even there are books that I would argue are like baby step like YA books that are baby steps into adult fiction or adult literary fiction, like things like an Anna Kay, like it like toes that line in the same way that like a Kevin Kwan does, or Cover Story by Susan Rigetti, where they're like high commercial fiction, but also attempting to be a little bit something more than just commercial fiction. But I would never be like, oh, Anna Kay is like for the same fans of some adult like I wouldn't say that, oh, you liked Anna Kay, go read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Like I wouldn't read an adult book and be like, you're gonna find this exact same thing in YA because it's going to be different. Like even like the world's best YA book that I've read, I wouldn't be like, it's gonna go toe to toe with an adult literary fiction. Like let's be a little bit realistic here. Let's be this is something. You think both sides of covers are ugly? I mean, you are not alone. You are. I think when we talked about them, last time, what is it? Last time we were just. I was the lone voice that said I liked them. They do have perma stickers. So I don't like the perma stickers on the paperbacks that the hardcovers don't. So again, like there's just give and takes, give and takes, but I do appreciate them. Um, but I'm not surprised that there is a group of people that is not a fan. We are going to our next sprint in 5 minutes. 5-minute warning. You meant in terms of how Honor for Weak Warcraft, the experience of a group it talks of, and my experience of reading these is that they do very little with the execution. I mean, I don't think that again, like I when I'm reading a YA contemporary, I'm really not looking to be again, like I think that it's very different. Like there is no YA literary fiction. So like literary fiction is going to talk about the experiences. Also, like Honor for Brief Worship is like it's poems and it's semi-autobiographical, if I'm remembering like people talk about it correctly. Like that genre of thing just simply does not exist in YA contemporary, and so no YA, like even YA contemporary that I think discusses like culture, like something like Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi, where we're talking about these two sisters and how they immigrated to America and they're like doing these things and like they are finding their footing and everything that's happening in Yoke, all of that. I wouldn't be like that's going to be the same thing as adult literary fiction because a YA contemporary is like this is not the purpose that it serves. Like even if it's a YA contemporary written by an author of color who is like when we're looking at these characters doing something, like it's just that's not what a YA contemporary is. Like that'd be like picking up a general fiction adult book um and being like, why aren't we delving like what is a 1 second? Let me go to my Goodreads because I know I was just reading some general fiction adult books that I wouldn't say are doing what Honor for like Honey and Spice, I don't think is really doing what On Earth for Briefly Gorgeous did, and that's an adult book, or something like Are We There? Well, there was nobody of color in that book. Let's not bring it up. Nobody was like that in The Last Housewife. Young Jane Young doesn't really do that. So like they're just it's a very different market. Babe, Elizabeth Acevedo and Sean. Um, well, one, Sean David Hutchinson is a weirdo, so I'm not reading a Sean David Hutchinson book, and I don't think that Elizabeth Acevedo is that good of an author. Like when to be like, I only read their debut, which everybody still lords over everybody. Like Elizabeth Acevedo talking about being what are they like an Afro Latinx person talking about Catholicism. It wasn't that good. It just wasn't. So and what that book does is what a lot of YA books do. Like that'd be like me getting on here and being like, oh, Nick Stone when she wrote Dear Martin, and that's a bad book. Or I could get on here and be like Angie Stone when she wrote I actually really like it's just On the Come Up. I think On the Come Up is better than The Hate You Give, but neither one of those books are doing what On Earth for Briefly Gorgeous is doing. Like those are not comparable to someone out here writing adult literary fiction. I'm you're not going to get me to agree. You're not going to get me to agree that Sean David Hutchinson with his like weirdo little creepy books and Elizabeth Acevedo with her like boring poetry that's not good. Um the internet is free. Internet, I mean, he's not like on the level of like harassing anybody. Like he's not there, but his books just don't appeal to me. So I'm not reading a Sean David Hutchinson, and I would disagree that whatever he is doing is on the same level as adult literary fiction. That's like even if he wasn't out here being a weirdo with his book premises, you're not gonna get me to I just simply disagree that whatever he is doing is adult literary fiction and is doing something about like and he's a white person, isn't he? So like he's writing about gay people. I can read about gay people from anybody. A lot of people do, but that book specific like even when I was on BookTube back in the day and that was everywhere, it was never appealing. And it's certainly not appealing after he wrote his little Let's All Love Republicans in the middle of a Trump presidency book. Not for me, not for me. But would you look at the time? It is 55. So let me get my Pomodoro Kitty back. Why do I always try and click on the slides? Like I got a slide presentation to share with y'all. We have our little cat theme timer. We are going to be productive for 45 minutes and then we'll come back together. Welcome back, readers. I once again did not read, did not touch a book, didn't look at a book, didn't even think about a book, if I'm being honest. I continued to kind of organize my life so that I could be prepared to do nothing tomorrow. We're going to do one more sprint, and I think I'm going to do a 30 because I don't think I can do another 245s of me trying to get my life together. So we're gonna do one final 30-minute sprint, and we'll do that at the top of the hour. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say at a clock is when we're gonna do that sprint. So hopefully, I can find enough things to talk about for 20 minutes. I think that's what we're gonna do. So let's catch up. Again, like, do I believe that Sean has written a decent book? Yes. Do I think that they are out here writing literary fiction? No. No. Hi, everyone. Just saw The Woman King and it was amazing. Kay is starting the blood trials. I need to read that. I was supposed to read that last week, and if I'm being honest with y'all, only got through 15 pages. Your mom called and took up the whole sprint. That is a good question because I should be reading any number of things, honestly. Am I reading any of them? No. Um I so like I said, I need to read For the Wolf for Aaron. I was supposed to read Playing Their Games by Kiki Swenson. I think in my little Friday reads, I called them Kiki Swanson, but I was supposed to read this last week. Where'd it go? The blood trials. I'm supposed to be vlogging this for the patrons, and it's the 15th. We're halfway through the month. Haven't even looked at a single. Did I really? Of course it did. I hate this little camera so much sometimes. Okay. Really? That's what we're doing? Man, no one has time for this foolishness, Logitech. There we go. Okay. Supposed to be reading this. Zyla and Kai. This is the book for Kenya's book club. Am I going to be reading it? I don't know. It's not crime fiction, so I'm not reading it today. But at some point, I wanted to read this. I have two of these, the little Hollywood homicide series by Kelly Garrett, because these are more positively reviewed than Like a Sister. No one seemed to like a Sister, so that makes me nervous. So I have a number of books that I could be reading. Even American Spy by Lauren Wilkinson. I have the audiobook out for this. Have I read it? No. The Black Girls Left Standing by Juliana Goodman. They sent this to me. Who sent this? File and Friends. So Macmillan sent this. Have I touched it? No, I haven't. But I think it has a crime element where the sister disappears. So I could be reading this. So there are a number of books I could be reading. Specifically could be reading right now. But me and the books, we are just not getting along at the moment. So I've just been getting my life together. So in the first sprint, I got dinner kind of ready. I got some stuff going, and I just continued that in this most recent sprint, and I ate. You got to page 38 of Love Boat Reunion, which I also need to read because we're halfway through the month. I haven't read my own book club book yet, although I do want to wait a little bit because last time I read it early and there were some issues in remembering all the things. Reading the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. You're at 66 and you have a lot of thoughts. I read one book by Grady Hendrix, and honestly, I'm not sure you could pay me to read another. Like, the Final Girl support group was so bad. It was so mediocre that I just refuse to believe that Grady Hendrix is a good author. Like, I kind of refuse to believe it. I can't see it. 20 more pages in the violin conspiracy, and you're wondering if the main character's family gets redeemed at some point. Right now, they are flat out awful. I mean, I haven't read it, so I don't know, but fingers crossed. 13 pages and 8 done with Murder by Page 1. These are blackoween sprints, so you had to go both the Black Book, the Hollow Places has to wait. Love that. The Hollywood Homicide is on your TBR for the readathon too. Like a Sister was a good time. It's not great, but it was a nice mystery with decent characters. That's good to know. That's good to know. Your audio book is Brother by Anya Alborn. That author name sounds familiar, but this book does not. So let's see here. Brother Anya Alborn. Interesting. Not Appalachia. Well, good luck. Listen. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. It wasn't even like sometimes, a book is so bad that like it gets good again, but it was just bad. Like it was not very good. And I understand that there was like a moment there. What was it? So there was a moment where after Grady Hendrix put out his little Final Girl book, that I know that Riley Sager clapped back in a deleted tweet. And so that was a moment. And then people were upset that Riley clapped back in this deleted tweet because Stephen Graham Jones put out a Final Girl book before. And so Riley Sager wasn't even the first person to do it. And so Riley Sager can't be upset. And I was like, I guess that's, sure. But Stephen Graham Jones's book is very different from my understanding. Like, is actually just let me look. I mean, I know that it's formatted differently for one. It's called The Last Final Girl. Stephen Graham Jones. Let's see here. You have to know. Host of Verge. Okay. Yeah, it's a very different vibe over there in the Stephen Graham Jones's book. Yeah, it is written as a screenplay. But according to what I'm getting from this synopsis is that the main character of Jones's book collects other Final Girls and is like murdering them, which is very different than what anyway, it doesn't matter. It got into this whole little thing. And I would disagree because I think that Riley Sager's book was definitely better than Grady Hendrix's. Grady Hendrix's book was horrible. It was damn near unreadable. I have returned many a book to the store. Many a book to the store, but I have never returned a book as well. No, because First Become Ashes, it technically took me a little bit longer. But the Final Girl support group got sent back to the store so quick. So quick. You mean Sager's book was better? Okay. Okay, because it definitely was. I don't know if anybody here has read Grady Hendrix's little Final Girl support group, but it's bad. It's bad. You have an emotional support magical Negro, so don't read it for the blackoween because the blackoween girl is dead, so she gone. She the emotional support negress that appears in the final act of the book as a hallucination. It was foolishness. Then you had this black girl being like, "Oh yeah, this little white girl can play me in the movie version of my life because I want the money." It was bad. 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 Horrible. It was bad. That book is just, every time I think about that book, I just refuse to believe that someone is enjoying what that man is writing. We have one more sprint in like 10 minutes. We're going to do one more 30-minute sprint. The movie version of My Best Friend's Exorcism was better than the book. I don't care what the people that hated the movie. I didn't realize it was going to be a movie until like 3 seconds before people tweeted it out that, hey, look at this movie. It just dropped. And I said, oh, okay. I love that for him, but I refuse to believe it. The Southern Vampires was not a fun time for me for a lot of reasons. I see no reason to read anything else that is based on that read. I know that people have given that book some decent ratings. I think Aaron gave that book like 5 stars, 4 or 5 stars. I just don't get it. You tried reading The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones and you hated the writing and you DNF'd it. You'll try the audiobook eventually. Hendrix has more exciting plots, but Sager is a better storyteller and has more potential. I don't like, my thing is that like Hendrix's books just don't sound appealing. Like they don't sound like anything that you like. The Final Girl Support Group, the title, that sounds like something you could write a book about. But like a book about being trapped in a IKEA, I don't know. I think he needs to be running a check to the people who formatted his book, because the formatting of that book is what makes that book appealing. I don't think it's the writing. I haven't read it, so I don't know. But like, just every time I look at the his books on the shelf in my library, Horror Store is the only one I'd want to read because I feel like it's marketed well. Like it looks appealing from an aesthetic point of view. His little haunted house book, I mean, it's a haunted house. Like, okay, congratulations. And I don't think that Riley Sager is out here doing anything that like I need to read either. But I feel like they're just both very generic. But at least Riley Sager makes sense. Like Riley Sager, when he was writing his little book, the only one I read, his little Final Girl book, it was fun. It was fun. I was enjoying myself. I had a good time there. That book was just your childhood. You was around white moms like that all the time. It was authentic, and the treatment of Black women was accurate. I mean, I feel like I haven't read it, so I don't know how these Black women were treated in the Southern Book Club's guide. But I just, having read how he treated the Black character in the Final Girl Support Group, if they were mistreated in the Southern Book Club's guide, I feel like that's just him not liking Black people, because it's something ain't adding up. Like, find me a Black person today who would suffer some tragedy and be like, yes, I want pretty little white Margot Robbie to come play me in the version of my life. Find me the person who looks like Viola Davis who says, I want Margot Robbie to play me in the version of my life in the events depicting the most horrendous trauma I have ever suffered. So I can make, like, I want to meet that person. And after I meet that person, maybe I'll be like, you know what, Grady Hendrix, sure, this person exists. Because I personally don't believe that person exists. I don't think anybody is walking around looking like Viola Davis and is going, yeah, get Margot Robbie to play me. Now, you might find some light-skinned folks who might be a little questionable, who might go, you know what, sure. Maybe a Troyan Bellisario is the right choice for you. Maybe a Meghan Markle is the right choice for you. Maybe an Amanda Stenberg is the right choice for you. Maybe Alexandra Shipp is the right choice for you. Maybe Halle Berry, Tandaway Newton. Maybe these are the right people for you. But find me Viola Davis who says Margot Robbie should play me. And then me and Grady Hendrix can talk. Not the rep is bad. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. I don't think the writing is bad, but I have issues with representing African Americans and saving final judgment until the end. Well, hopefully you have a better, like, again, I hope you have a good time. I always am sad when people are reading things that they aren't enjoying, because y'all should be able to enjoy your books. I can suffer. Listen. Like, again, like, okay, like, at least if I saw this person, I could understand a little bit. But I was just when I was reading, I said this doesn't even make sense. And then I am gonna spoil this. That the black person, the black final girl, was the only final girl to die. So like not only are they the first, but they are the only final girl that is actually murdered from the support group. Everyone is traumatized and everyone is hunted and everyone is dealing with something. But the black one is the only one that dies. In the story of her life, she is played by a white girl, and everyone thinks that like the person that like because everyone knows that this is like a real event. So people in reality start thinking that the like this happened to a white girl. And then this is the big spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoiled now, just wait until the sprint in 4 minutes and then I'll be gone. But not only was she the only one killed in the story of her life, she's played by a white girl. The book ends with her spot being in the group, in the final girl group, being taken by the person who orchestrated her murder and is a white woman. So the white woman kills this black woman and then takes her spot in the support group that was run and supported by the black woman. It was too much. It was too much. It was too much for me. It didn't work. It didn't work. I was checking out. I have never clicked return on a book so fast. Never taken myself back to a Books a Million with a quickness. She said, I want the money. She said this happened she was like an older character. She might have been like 30 or something. I don't remember. But she said, I want the checks to clear. So when she sold her little movie rights, she said, you can come play me. You can come play me. I just want the check to clear. And then the check cleared and she bought the little sleepaway camp and she had like rehabilitated it into this like place for survivors of traumatic incidents. And that's where she was murdered. She was murdered there. And the camp that she bought with the white girl money. So like again, like there's some moments in there where it's like, okay, congratulations. I see you were doing a little bit of something, but not for me. Not for me. Not for me. Not for me at all. So I would say that I hate to see it, but honestly, it gives me something to talk about every time Grady Hendrix comes up. So oh. Not the black child committed suicide. I just think it sounds like I just need to avoid this man. It sounds like I'm just going to continue to avoid him, but hopefully it turns around for you. Hopefully something happens and you're able to enjoy the book in the way that Jessica seemed to have enjoyed this book. And again, other people have really enjoyed of Grady's books. I would say that like while Southern's book club guide is still a little divisive, like I don't think it's universally loved or hated, I do think I see more positivity about that particular book. Whereas, Final Girls, I think I've seen one person trying to vibe with Final Girls. And some older fans, like obviously like Horror Store, and there's some agreements that like maybe his little exorcism book is good. And I know that people are really excited to see his little haunted house book, but I will say that I think the haunted house book has his ugliest cover. I don't think that his publisher has like fucked him over in the cover game. I think he has some pretty strong covers. But his haunted house cover is easily the weakest. Easily the weakest. I appreciate the little nod to Lego, but it's easily his weakest cover. Even the new cover versus the old cover of Exorcism is better. The Horror Store cover is probably his best cover. Final Girl support group is like cute. It definitely fits in that trend of like an object. Very stark, very, 2-3 tones, 2 colors, but whatever. But you hate to see it. You don't read anything else from Hendrix, you are not a fan. Well, at least you got the one book. At least you got the one book. But it is a clock. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring our friend the kitty cat back. I did not hit set. So we're gonna set it. We're gonna do one last sprint for 30 minutes. So let's go and be productive. Welcome back, readers. I say it with me. Did no reading. I got some clothes ready to put in the washing machine. Watched some YouTube. Was here to facilitate y'all reading. So that brings my page count for today's sprints to a grand total of 0. I think this is the first time I've done reading sprints and done no reading. So it's probably for the best that I call them productivity sprints because I was productive. We got dinner going, we got laundry going. So I'm not too upset. Hopefully, I think I'm going to give y'all 5-ish minutes, 5-10 minutes to catch me up. And then I'm going to go ahead and end it because we've been here for 3 hours now. So let's see here. Maybe they did. I would not be surprised. If they made the cover in Minecraft. I mean, again, like it's fine. It's just his least successful cover. I mean, you were here for one sprint, so that's what counts. That's what matters. Read 36 pages of The Trees by Percival Everett. You cleaned up a bit for the last sprint instead of reading. I mean, it sounds productive to me, which is what we are aiming for. You got 91% into Small Favors. I know, right? It don't feel like it. We have been here since 3:00 for me, and it's no, we were here since 3:30, not 3:00, 3:30, and now it's 6:32. So it just be going. You listen to the Intimacy Experiment, and you got a bit in. I'm assuming you got a bit into the Intimacy Experiment, and that's what the sentence means. 10 pages, 12% Done with Murder by page 1 by Olivia Matthew. I need to look up what this book is about because I still don't know. So let's see here. Murder by page 1. A Peach Coast Library Mystery. Marvy's a librarian from Brooklyn who makes book-themed jewelry as a hobby. Okay. Looks after her cranky cat and supports events for readers and authors. She's still adjusting to quirky small-town life in Georgia, and that's before she discovers a dead body in a bookstore. When her new best friend becomes a suspect, Marvy develops a new hobby, solving a murder mystery. With her talents for research, her knowledge gleams from crime novels, and a whole lot of determination, she pursues the truth. But as she gets closer to it, could she be facing a deadly plot twist? The first in a series cozy mystery includes a free Hallmark original recipe. Interesting. First published last year. Wouldn't have guessed that. Would not have guessed that at all. Is Olivia... Okay, so Olivia has a lot of books. And is a pseudonym for Patricia Sargent. Let's go to Patricia. And Patty got a lot of books. Interesting. Never heard of her. Never heard of Miss Patty. You had dinner. You got to 69%. You read 2 chapters of My Soul to Keep. I mean, I try to make them fun. You've been retwisting your locks. They're so time consuming, but you love them. I love that for you. I was not a good loctician. So they are gone. They are gone. But you can see them in the old videos. They're not the world's best looking locks though. You're from New Jersey, forget half the way we structure sentences don't make sense. It makes sense, but sometimes people they don't what am I looking for? Some people when they're in the chat, I mean, I know there's like a character limit, and so sometimes sentences just end in a weird spot, and I don't know if it's because that's just where the sentence just ends, or if there's going to be a follow-up message and it hasn't come through yet. But your sentence makes sense. I do my best. 20 pages into the violin conspiracy, and you're liking it. You're gonna have to ask who was reading it. Who was it? Jessica? Yeah, Jessica's reading. Yep, that's Jessica. I don't know what the recipe is, but hopefully it's good. You're liking it so far. It's cute. You're gonna devour it. Ooh, we got a start and DNF. I mean, you can do a lot in 3 hours, so that makes sense. That makes sense. Started it in the first sprint. And when did you DNF it? In the last sprint? How far did you get into it? I mean, you really don't. It's questionable quality. But if you go back, I think they're all from like 2012, maybe. No, not 2012. They're 2014. 2014. The recipe is a classic peach cobbler. Okay. I mean, I guess they are the peach library mysteries. The Peach Coast Library. I guess because they're in Georgia. Wait, does Georgia? I'm about to sound real. Yeah, Georgia has a coast, right? It's not the one in the middle. Where's my geography? Okay, I mean, I don't know if I would call it a coast. The shore, we'll give it a coast. So is it set? Where is this book set? It just said the small town, didn't it? Yeah, to quirky small town life in Georgia. I don't know if I want to live near the ocean in Georgia in a quirky small town. I don't know. You have to let us know. You have to let us know. Violent Conspiracy was a DNF for you too. Peach Cobbler sounds good. You're 40% in. You're just not feeling. I don't even know what this book is about. So let me read the synopsis for The Violent Conspiracy. By Brendan Slocum. Cause y'all don't got no love for Mr. Slocum. Is it a Mr. Slocum? Maybe it's Miss Slocum. Let's see. In Yuba City, California, raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Okay, so it is Mr. Let's read the little thingy. A mystery about a black classical musician whose family heirloom violin is stolen on the eve of the most prestigious classical music competition in the world. It's okay. Ray McMillan loves playing the violin more than anything and nothing will stop him from pursuing his dream of becoming a professional musician. Not his mother, who thinks he should get a real job, not the fact that he can't afford a high caliber violin, not the racism inherent in the classical music world. And when he makes the startling discovery that his great grandfather's fiddle is actually a priceless Stradivarius, his star begins to rise. Then, with the International Tchaikovsky Competition, the Olympics of classical music, fast approaching, his prized family heirloom is stolen. Ray is determined to get it back, but now his family and the descendants of the man who once enslaved Ray's great grandfather are each claiming that the violin belongs to them. With the odds stacked against him and the pressure mounting, will Ray ever see his beloved violin again? This book doesn't make any sense to me because how does your family own a Stradivarius? How your family own a Stradivarius and suddenly they don't want you playing music? How do you not know that how is this like a startling discovery where your family was just keeping some random violin? That seems a little suspect to me that your family is keeping this violin, but they don't know to try to Stradivarius. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Not me, not me, not me. Anyway, let's see here. You like the violin conspiracy, but you think it's more social horror than mystery. I think it depends on what you're expecting, if you liked it or not. Those are very different genres. I feel like social horror and mystery are very polar opposites. I believe Georgia is the peach state. Hello, welcome. I mean, I'm about to leave in like a minute and a half, but welcome. Definitely sounds like a Hallmark location, so the recipe sounds about right. I mean, that's true. Like small town sounds right, but I don't know if I want to be on the Georgia coast. Like Savannah is on the Georgia coast according to Google Maps, but even that didn't look like it was a great place to be. Me and the coastline are just not best friends because I think global warming, and I feel like that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be where the ocean is about to rise. Like I'm not trying to be driving through the ocean. You don't want to live that life. It's bad. I mean, that's fair. I live in medium-sized town, Kansas, and it's not much better. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for being here. Kansas City. Look at all this Midwest love. You love to see it. It was given to their relative. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense in context either. Even if it was like the relative, like if your family owns a Stradivarius, I feel like that's a thing that you know. Like maybe in 1872, okay, maybe not 1872, but maybe in like 1812, when their family was still enslaved, they didn't know they had a Stradivarius. But in the year of our Lord 2022, 2021, 1987, I feel like you have a Stradivarius. The slave was a relative. The relative was a slave of the person who owned it and it gifted to them. I also feel very weird about like, is it a gift? Is it a gift? That's why you think you're expecting a mystery. You might be disappointed, but I think it has a lot of important commentary on the racism and classical music arena. I mean, that's fair. I mean, to me, it's just like I don't know if I need someone to be like, "Ooh, we're gonna shine a light on the racism in the classical musical era or the space," because I just feel like racism is everywhere. So, like, I don't know if I need you to shine the light on I don't think anyone. Maybe I should put it like this. I don't think anybody would like look at a classical music competition and go, those people are the people who are like the most welcoming. The people who play Bach and Brahms and Beethoven and Tchaikovsky, those are the people who are like all inclusive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a little rude. Who knows? I'm just saying. I'm in Beyonce's year of 2022. You mean to tell me that somebody was gooped, gogged, and shaken? That there was racism in the classical music scene? Okay. Let's see here. Last comment. No one else in the family likes or appreciates the music. It was put in the attic for a while. I mean, I guess. I still feel like you would know. I'm not gonna. Do I have this book? This might have been a Libro book that's just sitting here. So let's see here. The violin. I do own, oh, no, I don't own it, so I won't be reading it. It's not in my collection. A lot of reviews say that it's not believable. So the more you know. You know, sometimes when people they're like, "Oh, it doesn't make sense that there's racism," but they're not there. But maybe people are shaken. I'm not surprised. I'm not shaken. You will say it wasn't framed as a gift. A big part of the book is them fighting over who rightfully belonged to from what you got, but again, you didn't finish. I don't know if I wanted to see, yeah, I don't want to see that. Actually, I don't want that story. If I wanted to actually, this is what I will say. If I wanted to like see people fighting with the people, that's just like a weird. Anyway, if I wanted to see a group of black people, the black family, fighting with the white family, or maybe they're multiracial now, like maybe they're inclusive over there in the slave owner family. If I wanted to see the descendants of slaves and the descendants of 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 the plantation owner fighting it out, I would just go watch Queen Sugar. I would just go watch Queen Sugar. I would Queen Sugar is where I would go. I would see them. I would get to see what's her name. I think her like the actress Dawn. I would get to see Dawn going over to the Landrys and being like, "That's right. This is our land." I would just go watch that. I'm not gonna see them fighting over violin. I'll just go watch that. Maybe I should go watch that because I don't think I ever finished that show. So maybe that's what I'll do with the rest of my weekend. I think it was clear it was a gift because if you believe the main character because he heard all his relative stories about it. I mean, who knows? I'm not gonna know. I'm happy that you liked it. I'm happy that everyone else, well, not everyone else, but other people didn't like it. I don't see myself really getting an opinion of my own. It's not a book that is calling to me, but never say never. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. So thank you all for coming out. I will be, you know what? This is what I should do. I should tell you guys who's supposed to be live tomorrow. So let me see if I can get that if I can find the schedule of events so I can direct you on who to go to next. because I feel like that would be me being a good little hosty host. The mom made you stop reading the book. You wanted to not the edges from the lace front. Wow, it was that bad. Okay. This little calendar that I'm looking at could be out of date, but I believe tomorrow, the 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can go to Bookmark Chronicles and they will be live doing the reading sprints. I don't know how long they're going to go. I don't know if they're going to have any guests, any co-hosts with them. I don't know what the vibe is going to be, but that's where you can go tomorrow. I will be back here next Saturday to be with y'all. And next Saturday, I will do some reading. But I'm going to go now. Yes, the bookmark. So everyone knows I'm the last person to know. But I'm going to go. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being productive with me. And I'll see y'all when I see y'all.